Hello there, Frank here, and I'm doing something quite a bit different. Today, I'm gonna try my hand at the vlogging thing, sort of. I don't know, not really. I made it yet another automotive purchase. Maybe a mistake this time. I'll let you guys be the judge. But have you ever bought a car as an inside joke? Because that is what I've done. And what I want to do, I will explain. Yes, this is a Chrysler Crossfire. It's my Chrysler Crossfire. And yes, I bought it effectively as an inside joke. So what I'm going to do is explain that. We're going to look around this car. We're going to explain what it is and what I'm doing with it. And I'm just going to try my hand at making a bit of a, I don't know, a mini series on my travels, my adventure, and what I plan to do with this car. So let's check it out. 2004 Chrysler Crossfire. It's a base model, or limited, I suppose, but it is not an SRT6. It is a 6-speed manual though, which is why I purchased it. Sort of. It's part of why I purchased it. The reason I purchased this, as I said before, was kind of as an inside joke. So, on the very last Driving While Awesome Coastal Range rally that I went on, let's say we crossed paths on the rally at a lunch spot with a gaggle, a group, a quiver, if you will, of Chrysler Crossfire owners. There was a whole group of them. They were having lunch, and it sort of became a little bit of an inside joke as far as, you know, the Crossfires and how they travel in packs and just on and on. It was very much a different vibe than the groups of cars that we were driving. I was in my 1984 Toyota Supra, and all around it was just a good time. But yes, it became a bit of an inside joke, potentially taking a Chrysler Crossfire out on a driving rally. So part of that joke is me showing up to the next one in a Chrysler Crossfire. So yes, I bought this particular Chrysler Crossfire as an inside joke. Is it perfect? No. Is it pretty darn good for the money I paid for it? I think so. We're gonna find out. I'm doing a quick kind of series of videos on this particular Crossfire, my trials and tribulations with this particular Chrysler Crossfire, up to and including the repair work it needs, what I need to put into it, taking it on the rally itself. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get to the end of this, and guess what? The rally's in 8 days. Today is October 2nd. First day of the rally is October 11th. Really means I gotta get down there on the 10th. So I am up against it. What does it need? Well, let's poke around it, and then, you know, we'll discuss both today and throughout the rest of these videos that I'm making with this car. What is a Chrysler Crossfire? Other than maybe a mistake. I feel strongly that I think I'm gonna get out of this car unscathed and having a bunch of fun. And yes, at the end of it, I will be selling it over on Cars and Bids. That's the plan anyways, assuming I don't blow it up or put it into a ditch on the rally. I'm pretty conservative with that kind of thing, so I feel strongly we're gonna have a successful sale of this Crossfire at the end. As I said, 2004 Chrysler Crossfire. It is black over gray leather, and it's got a 6-speed manual. That is why I bought this car. So we'll talk more about the Chrysler Crossfire throughout these videos, but the very bare bones of what you need to know about this car is, yes, it looks like an angry Sebring, and in some regards that's what it is. But really what this is a really interesting piece of badge engineering from Daimler Chrysler back in the early 2000s, where they took a concept car design that they had. It's actually a pretty cool concept if you go back and look at the old Chrysler Crossfire concept, but it is very much a concept, and they wanted to execute it. And the way they did that was by partnering up with then parent Chrysler's parent, I should say. So what they did was they partnered up with Chrysler's then parent Daimler-Benz and took the older SLK chassis, specifically the SLK 320, rebodied it, took the suspension, took the motor, took the transmission, really all of the powertrain, really almost everything, if I'm being honest, and just made a rebodied hard top version and then later soft top version of the SLK. And they produced this. So this one is a 6-speed manual, which is fairly uncommon, not impossibly rare, but pretty uncommon, pretty rare. And that is the version that I wanted. I was seeking one out with a manual, which they did make the SRT6 version, which was the Chrysler Crossfire equivalent of the SLK 320 AMG, 320 to 330 horsepower, supercharged V6. Those only came with a 5-speed auto. I would prefer the 6-speed manual, even though this has the same motor as the SLK and really all of those 3.2 liter V6 powered Mercedes-Benzes of the late 90s, early 2000s. That's the M112 V6. And so that's what this is. So this particular car, 45,000 miles and change. It will soon turn 46,000 miles. And what am I into it? So I'm into this car $4,300 as it sits. Realistically, maybe add $200 to that for registration. And yeah, so for $4,500 all in, it is registered. It had passed California smog. I paid $4,500 for a 45,000 mile 6-speed manual Crossfire, which is pretty good deal in my book. So without going too deep into the woods right now, as far as the general details of the Chrysler Crossfire, I want to talk about this Chrysler Crossfire. I've only got barely a week to get this one in fighting form and ready to go on a several 100-mile driving rally. So with that in mind, let's peek around this one, figure out what I've got to do to get it ready, not only for the rally, but then on the other side of that, get it ready to sell over on Cars and Bids. So first off, cosmetically, it's in pretty good shape. It's not perfect. We'll check that out. And not that I need to worry specifically about the cosmetics ahead of the rally. That is something we are going to address. Let's figure out everything I need to address in detail here. Headlights are pretty well glazed over. So those are going to need to get polished up. Those are going to need to get detailed. Realistically, the entire car needs a bit of a detail. The gentleman I purchased it from, bought it from who I believe was the original owner. It had sat in her yard, in her driveway for quite some time. So it collected some sun and it's got some issues really just from atrophy, from sitting. So it will definitely need a detail. I think a lot of this, if you look at the paint here, there's some kind of yuckiness, general evil here on top of the clear coat here. But the body's pretty darn straight. I think some of this will polish back, but stuff like the fuel door and the rear bumper that we'll look at in a minute, I don't think that's coming back. Some of this will need some paint. But step one is we're gonna get this thing detailed. We're gonna see how much of this paint comes back because it has seen some sun. And I don't think there's anything too devastating. Looks like there's some minor checking on the roof here. So we'll have to take a look at that. I'm not really worried about checking on the roof. I'm more worried about stuff like this fuel door here that's completely faded. That's gonna need to get addressed. We'll see how this adheres on here. Hopefully it's something pretty minor. I can pop that guy off, paint it off the car. And the good news is this is just a straight non-metallic black. As far as color match goes, that's pretty easy. But you can see there's this kind of coating on the clear here. I think a lot of that will polish off. Rear bumper, straight up needs paint. That thing cooked for quite some time. And so the bumper cover is gonna need paint. Again, pretty minor in the grand scheme of things, but it needs to be addressed, certainly before the sale. Maybe not before the rally, because I'm on borrowed time, but before the sale. These Chrysler Crossfires have this very cool active arrow, where this guy, you get to 62 miles an hour, 100 kilometers, and it pops up. So that's fun, but you can see there's some fading. I don't think this will come back. This will probably need paint as well. We'll try. I'll work with a detailer to see what that can do, but we'll see if that comes back. But as you can see, the paint and body generally is pretty good. It's pretty straight, couple of minor dings. There's a really minor one here. This drip rail molding up here is faded down to the metal, not a big deal. That's easy to address. And these windshield reveal moldings, which are this kind of argent color need to be redone. That's pretty easy to do. I might try and avoid popping these off to paint. If I have to, I will, but as you can tell, this car's sat in the sun and I don't want brittle plastic to break if I can avoid it. Stuff I absolutely need to do ahead of the rally. Tires. These are Nittos, which I don't really care about the brand. I care that you can see they're dry rotting, and they're from the middle of 2008. So yeah, these tires definitely, they gotta go. They're about to go to high school. These are, you can feel it when you're driving it. I haven't put a ton of miles on this car because I haven't had it all that long. Step one, we gotta do tires. I enjoy tire shopping. I think it's a good time, but I'm a car idiot. I think this stupid mundane stuff like that is a good time. So maybe you don't want to buy tires. I'm excited to buy tires, and there's a balance to strike, right? I can spend $1,800 on some really nice tires. It's a staggered set. They're 18 in front, 19 in the rear, but I paid $4,500 for the car. So spending 40% of its value on tires right off the bat just is a hard pill to swallow. I'm gonna shop around and see what I can do. There's a good balance of performance and cheapness. I'm not gonna go out there and get some Mucho Machos. Actually, shout out to Mucho Machos, those might be a good option. Long and the short of it is, I'm gonna find some decent tires. I don't wanna spend more than $800 all in if I can avoid it. Could use, this car could use an alignment, so we'll do that as well. But yes, step one is tires. Step two, let's pop the hood. There are a few mechanical bits and pieces that I would like to address. So here it is, the M112 3.2 liter V6. Pretty darn good engine. They've held up very well. They're not terribly sophisticated. It's got like a 6,000 RPM red line. It's just a V6, right? 215 horsepower. While not the world's most sophisticated motor, they make decent power. They're pretty strong throughout the, albeit limited, rev range, and they're extremely stout and extremely reliable. You talk to anyone that's got one of these motors in an E320, in a CLK 320, in the bones of this car, which is the SLK 320, and people put big miles on these without a ton of issue. One of the issues these cars have, which is generally pretty minor, is going to be valve covers. The valve covers here are indeed leaking, and I do need to address those before the rally. It's pretty significant leak. You drive it for a while, you stop at a red light, and you see smoke come out through the grill and up from under the hood. This one's not as bad here on the passenger side, but towards the rear, you can see it's definitely been leaking and can be addressed. The driver's side is worse. My understanding is these were sealed from the factory, not really so much with a gasket, both RTV, and you can see that guy's been leaking. And so out of all the stuff beyond the tires I need to do ahead of the rally, I want to take care of that. All the way around this valve cover here, it's leaking and it's burning on the manifolds. It's nothing too scary. And the person I bought it from, he included all the parts. We'll check that out in a second. Pretty small potatoes as far as issues mechanically. One would expect that with a 45,000 mile car. And here is what that owner gave me. He gave me filters. We got cabin filter, engine intake filter. We have a set of rubber Molle valve cover gaskets, which are nice. It's a good brand, good rubber. It's not corked or anything weird. I could just redo them with RTV, which is, if that's what the factory did, then I could certainly replicate that. He also included with me oil, the specific Euro full synthetic oil, which is rad. He also included aftermarket oil level sensor. This one doesn't have an issue with the oil level sensor. However, it does have a bit of a leak from the upper, I should say, not the upper, but where the lower oil pan, which is here, mates to the upper oil pan and the oil level sensor. So in the bottom of the lower oil pan, there's the oil level sensor mounts into it, connects to the upper oil pan. That's leaking. It's not that bad. He seemed to think it was pretty bad. I had it parked in my driveway for a week and there was one small drip. So not that big a deal. But if I choose, he included a new pan because he wasn't sure what the old one looked like. Look at that. Cast aluminum pan. Looks good. That's gonna be great. So, I've got all the parts I need and more to do the work, and they were included with the cost of the car, which is pretty rad. Let's check out the interior real quick. Interior's pretty nice. For a Crossfire, I'll say. Some wear on this one side bolster, but all told, pretty nice. So part of the rub on these cars was originally that the interiors were garbage. And I suppose if you compared it to an SLK of the era, it sort of is, but it's not that different. There's our mileage, 45,929. And I don't know, they're okay. Like, I think the biggest knock on this interior is that they chose to do this fake aluminum colored plastic trim, which if it was just like, I don't know, wood grain or something other than fake plastic that is very obviously not aluminum, it would have been okay. And it came with maybe the world's worst cup holder, which is utterly useless. You can't even fit a can in here, so I don't know what the point is. And it's clunky, and I always bump it with my arm, and it opens, as you can see. That is infuriating. I'm sure I'm gonna find a bunch of stuff I don't like about this car throughout my ownership. This shift knob it's metal and it gets really hot and it feels cheap. Even if it isn't, it just looks bad and feels cheap. This old Infinity stereo, let's just start the car. Lo and behold, the Chrysler Crossfire key is as expected, a Mercedes-Benz key with a Chrysler logo on it. And let's be real, this era Chrysler logo is maybe the worst logo in the history of the automobile. I mean, it's genuinely just ugly. There it is. It just wasn't, it didn't work then, it's not working now. Sorry, Chrysler. Sorry, Mama Mopar. But it beeps like a Mercedes. It's got turn signal stalk like a Mercedes. It's got cruise control like a Mercedes because, again, for all intents and purposes, it's a Mercedes. Air conditioning blows nice and cold. We've got our ridiculous of the era Chrysler Infinity stereo system. We've got our active aero. Here, let's flip that and we can go play with it. Heated seats. I don't know. I don't think this interior is that bad. Maybe I'll learn to hate it after taking it on a rally. The seats are very kind of ho-hum, but I don't think the build quality is that brutal. I don't think it's that just dreadful. Look at that. Oh boy. The majesty of the Chrysler Crossfire. Active aero. You can even see it sat with the wing up in the sun for a bit. So again, here's the plan. Got just about a week to put tires on this thing, to get it detailed, to fix the valve cover leak. Hopefully put at least a handful of test miles on it before I go beat the snot out of it on the Driving While Awesome rally. 15 is the 15th rally they're doing, and so I'm gonna show up with the Chrysler Crossfire like an idiot, assuming I don't blow it up or put it into a ditch or otherwise find a way to destroy it, and assuming I don't fall in love with it forever, right? I suppose it can go either way. I'll get to debrief on my life with the Chrysler Crossfire, what my thoughts are, as if they're important. Clearly they're not, but I get to pretend. And then at the end of it all, I'm gonna go ahead and sell it over on Cars and Bids. We'll just let it rip, no reserve. I don't know what it's gonna bring. I don't think there's a huge amount of value in it. I think, you know, under 50,000 miles with everything sorted out, take care of the paint on the bumper, fresh tires. I don't know, 7 grand, 8 grand? Maybe someone will fall in love with the old girl. It's hard to find a 6-speed manual. Maybe it'll go for more, I don't know. But we are going to find out, and then we'll talk about the Chrysler Crossfire along the journey. You know, my prediction right now, with hardly having driven it and buying it on a whim as a straight up physical meme, my prediction is that I'm gonna kind of fall in love with it. Not really. I take that back. My prediction is that I think it's gonna be underrated. I think for the amount of money you can get one of these for, and compare it to a clown shoe BMW, compare it to really anything European adjacent, hardtop, manual, two-seater. I think it's actually going to be pretty good, and I think this car, my prediction is my outcome is going to be that this car got a bit of a bad rap, that the Jeremy Clarksons of the world decided to say it looked like a squatting dog, and I don't know that he's wrong, but I think there's a lot of reasons why somebody could not like this car, and I think I'm going to probably end up paying more attention to the reasons that somebody would like this car than why they wouldn't. So that's it for now. What I'll do is I will bring you along for the ride. I'm going to do the mechanical bits and pieces, and we can see if I make it to the rally or not. And then, of course, come along for the rally, come along for the ride. We'll get some in-car, we'll hang out with the homies, we'll have a great time. Brought to you by Chrysler Crossfire. All right, thank you, friends. Cheers.